Welcome back today, guys, and what we're going to be looking at is continuing our study on chords, lines and circles. And today we're going to be looking at how we can use properties we already know from our coordinate geometry of the line to solve these problems. In example 3 here, it says find the length of the intercept the circle x squared plus y squared minus 10x plus 8y plus 16 equals 0 makes on the x-axis. Well, what we need to remember here is that our x and our y-axis have intercepts. And if it's an intercept of the x-axis, aka if it's a point where it goes across the x-axis, that's when I know that we're going to let y equal to 0. If we were trying to find where it goes across the y-axis, that's when we're going to let x equal 0, which we looked at when we were studying the equation of a line. So if I want to find where this goes across the x-axis, that's where I'm going to use my rule to let y equal to 0. And then I'm going to solve for my two values of x. So in my equation, I have x squared plus y squared minus 10x plus 8y plus 16 is equal to 0. So I have x squared plus 0 to be squared minus 10x plus 8 by 0 plus 16 equals 0. So anything times by 0 we know gives me 0. So these two are both now gone, which leaves me with the quadratic x squared minus 10x plus 16 is equal to 0. So to solve this quadratic, I'm going to have two sets of brackets with an x in each bracket. I'm going to think of my factors of 16 that will give me 10, which I can see are going to be 8 and 2, with a minus 8 and a minus 2, which means I have x minus 8 is equal to 0, which means x is equal to 8. And I have x minus 2 is equal to 0, so x is equal to 2. Which means it's going to cross the x-axis at the 2 points, 8, 0 and 2, 0. Which means if I draw a rough look at the circle on my diagram over here, we can see it's going to cross both times in the first quadrant, which means my circle would look something like this. Okay, dodgy circle, but it would look something like this, where the first time it's going across at 2, the second time it's going across at 8. And it wants to find the length of the intercept formed by this. So it wants to find the length from 2 to 8 on the x-axis. Well, we know that the length from 2 to 8 on the x-axis is going to be 6 units because 8 minus 2 is 6. So that means I can finish with, therefore, the length of the intercept, okay, the length of the intercept of the circle on the x-axis is equal to 6 units, to make sure we've clearly answered the question. So remember, guys, if it's going across the x-axis, we're going to let y equal to 0. If it's going across the y-axis, we're going to let x equal to 0 and use that to solve any problems in between. So if you want to pause the video here, add our workings for example 3 into our notes booklet, and then we're going to resume and look at example 4. Okay, guys. So looking at example 4 here, it's looking at tangents and chords again. And our rule here is, and this is an important rule we need to remember, to find a common chord, like in diagram 1 here, where I have a chord that goes through two circles and cuts them each at 2 points, or a common tangent, like in diagram 2 here, where a tangent goes through two circles and meets each circle at 1 point, we need to subtract the two equations for the circles. So if we want to find the common chord or the common tangent, we need to subtract the two equations of the circles here. So let's have a look now. Find the equation of the common chord of the two circles. So to do this, we're going to have x squared plus y squared minus 6x plus 2y plus 4 is equal to 0. Apologies. Is equal to 0, not 40. Okay. And we're going to subtract the equation x squared plus y squared plus 2x minus 4y minus 6 is equal to 0. Now the subtract on the outside here is going to change the sign of each of the ones in between. So what we really have is x squared minus x squared, which are going to cancel. Y squared minus y squared, which is going to cancel. Minus 6x minus 2x, which is going to give me minus 8x. 2y plus 4y, because a minus by a minus is a plus, it gives me plus 6y. And again, we have a minus by a minus, which gives me a plus. So we have 4 plus 6, which gives me 10. So the equation of my common chord is minus 8x plus 6y plus 10 is equal to 0. Okay? So again, we're going to pause the video here, add the notes and the example 4 into our notes booklet, and then we're going to try a few questions. Well done, guys. Keep up the good work.